Let us welcome Executive Chairman and Chief Visionary of MetricStream, Gunjan Sinha.
All right. Good morning, everyone. You guys get your coffee? You know, when I came here, I said I wanted to meet with you all. And then the team took it literally. Yesterday, they packed me up with like 20 meetings, and so that was the secret behind my number of steps, because this is a big conference area, so one of the meetings used to be in one corner, the other one was in the other one, so I had to keep running around between the different conference rooms. So one way to get your steps is do a lot of meetings. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the happy hour last night. I saw a lot of competitive juices there with table tennis and all the good stuff going on. And I know we have a packed day today. Literally amazing content and conversations. And I love the excitement and energy of this conference, and it keeps getting bigger and better every year, as you guys can see it and feel it. So we have lots in store today, so let's get started. So if you recall, a year back when we met at the GRC Summit back in DC, literally in April or May last year, I made 3 promises. The first one was, let's keep innovating in the cloud. That was our first promise. The second thing we talked about was, how do we raise the bar on quality? Many of you guys will remember that. And the third we said was, how do we truly enable our partners to succeed and help deploy our solutions with rapid ease and speed. Those are the 3 commitments that we made, and I feel very good about that when I look at the last 12 months, that we've made significant strides over the last 12 months on these 3 promises. So let's talk about the cloud. We set out on a mission to build a next generation infrastructure that is truly going to be able to give performance and scale, but also gives the enterprise-grade security, which is so very important in the world of GRC. And I feel we've been able to get into that highly secure cloud infrastructure, the modern cloud, using our multi-instance architecture that is now in place. That's been one of the key accomplishments over the last 12 months. Not the traditional multi-tenant architecture, which commingles data, but in this multi-instance world, how do you bring these applications, which you can light up and fire up in separate instances in almost real time, whether it's an internal audit app, ERM app, or third-party app, and be able to consume the applications with relative ease. So we've made significant strides and progress in that area. And we did that with using latest, greatest technologies and tools last year. And the team has been very focused on these, putting the best tools and technologies in place for our modern cloud. So for example, on the front end, we've used technologies like VMware and Docker. But on the back end, we did a lot of work to be able to leverage Amazon AWS and Google Cloud now to give us elasticity and scale and leverage. And the benefit to you all is genuinely in terms of how it helps on lowering the cost of the cloud, or giving us more scale, or giving you control and security. That has been an amazing feat last year and how our cloud has come together. We are rapidly becoming synonymous to the GRC cloud. And I have to tell you, 75 to 80% of our customers are leveraging our cloud in one form or the other. That's a remarkably different number than a year back. So the cloud has come of age in this world of GRC, and I feel that our teams have really rallied behind delivering the cloud promise last 12 months. My second promise was, how do we help raise the bar on quality? I'm sure you guys remember that from the last summit. Quality is something that I threw upon as a challenge to our team, and I said, we need to improve how we write our code, how we do unit testing, how do we improve how we support you guys, How do we drive better implementation regardless of whether it's a fast track, whether it's product plus, whether it's edge methodologies? How do we improve the quality of our implementations? How do we actually do a better job even in selling? How do we raise the bar on quality across the entire company? And I have to tell you, many of our executives took upon that challenge. You know, from Thomas Ludwig, who's in the room, from customer success and quality, to Vidya, Vasant, Anindo, you know, really taking on the challenge of raising the bar on M7 and figuring out how M7 gives a different level of code quality than we've had traditionally in 6.x. Or Susan, Michelle, Sam, and a number of other executives on really figuring out how we take account management to the next level. So we've seen efforts coming from all quadrants of the company, and it's really been a team effort across the board. So I want you guys to give a big round of applause for the team here to be able to rise up to the challenge of quality, because that means a whole lot to me and to just Shelley and to the entire board of directors of MetricStream. And a couple of them are actually here. I see David Campbell sitting right there from Goldman Sachs, and Scott Arnold. And some of you guys probably saw him yesterday at the happy hour. But we have our whole team feel very proud of, you know, how they have taken on the challenge of quality and how that has come together. So a big round of applause for our team. And I'll tell you one thing. You know, we conduct an annual survey. So Thomas led the survey. You know, it went out from Shelley for all of our customers globally. Almost 300 customers and individuals participated around the world. And I have to tell you, this year, we have seen almost a 30-point improvement in our customer success on a scale of 200. That's a remarkable progress in a 12-month period. Clearly, quality is a journey. And we expect that by the time we meet here next year, I want to see another 30-point improvement. That's the challenge for all of us collectively. This is not just a challenge for MetricStream, but I feel it's a collective journey, because quality is where you have to hold us to a higher standard of quality, and you have to also take our lead to keep us more packaged, more focused, and more at the center of our value proposition of GRC. That's how we lift the quality in the industry. So it's a collective process of how we help each other, so that when we come back here a year from now, I want to see another 30-point improvement, and that's my ask. So this is important to me very personally. I feel as an industry, if we raise the bar on quality, we will move to the next level of excellence. And we are on a journey here to create an industry, to create a phenomenon, and I think all of us are part of it. And I really believe that the biggest lever and the driver of this is going to be quality, and we have to walk the walk and talk the talk and deliver to that. So I need your help in that journey. So that was my second promise. The third was really about truly enabling our partners to take on more and more of our implementations and get trained to be able to make things happen. And I have to tell you, when I see dozens and dozens of our partners, like I spent some time with KPMG, I'm sure they're in the room somewhere here, or Deloitte, or people from your TCS, HCL, Infosys, number of other companies like Protiviti, they have really built solid practice around MetricStream now, and they're ready to take on the implementation challenges as we speak. This is a remarkable feat over the last 12 months. A lot has gone into it. You know, we have trained over 1,000 GRC professionals using a MetricStream University, 1,000 GRC professionals who are ready to take on the challenge. Some of them work in your IT organizations. Some of them are part of our partner firms, but they are ready to help. Not just the MetricStream, but these are people who are now trained to deliver. I still remember one of the days I walked into our training room and I actually saw people from different partner organizations and IT organizations getting trained and certified on MetricStream. You know, we had people flying in from Europe, from Canada, from, you know, all across the United States. And it was an amazing pleasure to see how they were into the weeds of Infolet and App Studio and platform configurations and the conversations. And literally there was 1 or 2 people from MetricStream and there were 30 people from everybody else. That to me was a moment of pride because I felt like, we are finally curating an ecosystem around us. That's been our vision from the outset. And I feel like we are now at a place and moment in time that as we curate this ecosystem around us, that's when magic is going to happen. Because it's not just about us knowing GRC, we want everybody else to be equipped to make and drive the GRC implementation and GRC success. So on all of these three promises, last 12 months have been very instrumental. And it wouldn't have been possible without your collaboration and your efforts and your feedback. I think Scott yesterday mentioned to me, I call it tough love. And sometimes it's tough love, but keep us honest, keep us going, keep us inspired, keep us moving. So a big round of applause to all of our customers for doing that. So moving forward, in 2017 and beyond, we have to clearly continue to incessantly innovate in the cloud. Our job is not done here. We got to keep at it and take the cloud to the next level of excellence. We have to continue to raise the bar on quality. As I said, I need another 30-point improvement from where we are today. I think we can do that in the next 12 months, and that's my ask from all of us together. And we want to see to further simplify, make it easier for our partners to rapidly deploy. Yesterday at the dinner time, I was talking to one of our smaller partners, S28. They're ready. They're doing implementations at a number of customers. They want to do more. That's music to my ears. That's exactly what we want to do. So that must be our focus going forward. So as we have been busy executing and doing these things in the world of GRC, I was reflecting, a lot has changed in the world. If you remember last year when we met here a year back, we actually had a different president. We had a different government in Washington, D.C. a year back, right? Brexit hadn't even happened, by last summer. The regulatory environment is also rapidly shifting. You heard that yesterday. You heard that from Shelley, you heard it from Gordon. The world is different today, right? Maybe less focus on Dodd-Frank, more on security regulations, right? Less focus on internal threats, more on things like ransomware and other things that are evolving. One thing is for sure, the world of GRC is rapidly shifting because of how the climate is changing. The geopolitical climate today is remarkably different. We had a whole panel yesterday talk about that. So as risk professionals, we have to understand that. What does this mean for us? As executives, we have to ask the same question. What does this mean for us? And there couldn't have been a better presentation than the one from Gordon yesterday when you heard from the CEO of Chase on how to think about risk. And I think he did a phenomenal job articulating, what matters for us, how to be true business partners, standing next to next with the lines of businesses and help drive the risk and audit and compliance agenda with our business partners. So these are interesting times where we have to ask these questions as GRC professionals, as executives, as board members, and as shareholders. What are some of the trends that are emerging? What's in front of us? So one of the biggest trends that I see come out right now is what I call, in this age of the customer, in this age of the consumer, what I call the voice of the customer. The voice of the customer, the collective voice of the customer is louder than ever. And that is amazing. Our customers are becoming the biggest regulators on the planet for every company around the world. They are setting the highest standards, way above what you're going to get from the regulators. They're setting the highest standard to which we must rise. That is one of the major kind of trends that I'm seeing in the world of GRC, that the voice of the customer is being at the center of the GRC programs. And that's quite exciting in some ways. Because of social media, digital connectivity and hyper connectivity, consumers and customers can come together and their voice has to be heard. You cannot ignore them. I'll give you an example. In no time, one incident that happened at United, hurt its brand. That could happen to any one of us. We've got to pay attention. We got to pay attention to our customers as part of our GRC program, not as part of what happens in CRM or in sales groups or in customer service groups or implement services groups, but what happens as part of a GRC program. We got to pay attention to our customers. In no time, consumers abandoned, 20, 30 million consumers abandoned Uber account because they disagreed with Uber. That's the power of the collective voice that you're seeing now. So we got to pay attention to that. And by the way, we've got to do that while we have to still deal with the regulators. We have to still deal with the financial risks and enterprise risks and operational risks and all of that stuff. So we have now, sitting in front of us, the ultimate regulator. I call it the voice of the customer. And by the way, I have taken it very personally for all of us at MetricStream here. Like, we heard loud and clear from all of you and from all of our customers worldwide that our job is to make GRC simple. That was your voice that has made its way into M7. M7 is your product. You asked for making GRC simple. And it was important that as we were looking at our corporate risk, our corporate code of conduct of what we need to hold ourselves to where we want to build our brand, it is about making GRC simple. You heard that from Gordon, from the lessons learned at Chase. The first thing he said, if you remember, right? Keep things simple. We made things simple in M7. And I do not want to steal the thunder from Vasant because I'm sure he has a packed content on M7. I'll let him play that. But we've got to make things simple. That's important. We have to deliver value in an instant. That's important in this world in which we live. So our customers are our ultimate regulators. They are setting the standards for you. So I want to make sure that as we are thinking about our GRC programs, we should be putting that thought process. We should be thinking about the data model that's going to serve the customer. We got to be thinking about the taxonomy that serves the customer. How should we include the voice of the customer, the advocacy for the customer, and the risks that are associated with the customers in your GRC program? The more we do that, A, it delivers real value to the business, and B, you are ready and prepared to basically hold up to the highest standard that your customers are going to hold to. Not just for the regulators, not just for regulations or threats or security leaks or vulnerabilities, but to the value that your customers bring to the table. So that's the first trend. The other mega trend that I'm seeing is, I call it the power of now. And this one I picked up from my daughter, who's 16-year-old. Everything's got to happen in a snap. In the world of Instagram and Facebook and Snapchat, and we don't have patience anymore. We want to see value today as consumers. But the same thing is happening for businesses. They want to see things happen today, not in multiple quarters or long delayed deployment cycles or any of that stuff. That's old world. In the modern world, we got to deliver value today. So as GRC professionals, as MetricStream, we've got to find use cases. We've got to find examples where we can deliver value today to our executives, to our people who are funding our projects, people who are sponsoring our projects, as to how we deliver value today. And I'll give you a good example of that. That whole idea of challenging the team to saying, how do we deliver value today? As we were designing M7, one of the thoughts that came, can we build an app that sits on top of M7? It's a mobile app, and some of you guys are actually using it, called GRC Pulse, which you can download in moments. Go to Apple App Store or Android App Store, download the app, and start to use it for your compliance activities in 5 minutes. In 5 minutes, across the globe. So 50,000 employees in a company can start downloading it and start to benefit from it. Start to do policy attestations. You look at training videos, understand how to deal with the tone from the top, coming from the CEO. What is our ethics standards to which we govern ourselves? How should we think about quality? What is our viewpoint on sustainability and governance? These are important things, and we want to set the right tone. You guys heard the comment from Donna yesterday, right? She talked about her experiences. We want the right tone here, and it has to be real. Not something that you say one thing and then you wink, wink, nod, nod, do something else. We want to set the tone from the top. GRC Pulse in moments can help you get there with all of your employees and suppliers worldwide. That's the power of now. In 5 minutes. So my challenge to all of us is, let's find more examples where in 5 minutes, 10 minutes, we can start to make a difference. Not 5 weeks, not 10 weeks, not 10 months. That's the power of now. We are living in the world of Instagram and Snapchat and Facebook and everything else. People are looking for real-time notifications and speed. That's what business is about. Shelley talked about risk agility. This gives us genuine risk agility moving forward. I'm still thinking about ideas and things that will propel us into the future, but I'll leave that. A lot of the ideas in this company have come from all of you. I like you guys to think and suggest what would work, but we got to be able to seize the moment and build our GRC programs with speed and agility baked into our GRC practice. So that was the second major mega trend that I see. And then the third one is something that we cannot afford to ignore anyone. I feel we are coming to a point in the society where everywhere you look, technology is now playing a big role. Every tech pub, every business publication, every entrepreneur in Silicon Valley is talking about this trend, and I call it the age of AI. It is finally here. I remember, thinking about AI back in 90s and, into the last decade, but it's finally here, and it's real. I literally went to a pizza store in Mountain View, California. The entire pizza is being made by AI, believe it or not. There are companies who are using algorithms for beer brewing as we speak to serve the best beer that can be made, which adapts to your palate. And these are real examples, by the way. Or how to filter fake news, to make sure that we can get the right information. So we still collectively have to find what is these use cases in the world of GRC where AI can be a real tool for us, a real asset for us. AI fundamentally changes the future of work. It fundamentally changes how we think about human productivity. And it must fundamentally change how GRC will get done and delivered in the future. So my challenge to all of you guys is help us conceptualize, let's call it M7I. And this is, by the way, I'm going off the written script here. Let's help us conceptualize M7I, which has natively built AI, right? Where you can actually use these algorithms. So tell us, what are those use cases where AI can play a role? Perhaps to automatically discover risk, which is happening across the enterprise. Perhaps it's about learning from employee behaviors and patterns without having to ask people or audit people. If you're seeing a whole bunch of downloads happening late in the night and things which are going off your policy, can you be notified in a way that you can do something about it? So I don't have the answers, but I'm looking for ideas from all of you so that perhaps a couple of years down the road or 3 years down the road, we could be standing here and talking about this thing called M7I, which is really brought into the world of the age of AI. And I think French told me, it's BI and AI together, so there are a lot of I's around, so that's why I plugged an I next to the M7I. And it has not cleared the marketing department, so this is just my off-the-script comment here. But I do believe that we've got to pay attention to intelligence, to AI. And that's one of the things which we have to collectively do. We have taken some baby steps in this arena, and some of you guys saw some of the demos and so forth. We've added some predictive modeling, some mind maps, some advanced visualization, but these are baby steps. We have a long way to go in the world of AI. So these are the three things that I want you guys to think about as takeaways. How do you incorporate the voice of the customer right at the center of your GRC program? Because your brand is very, very important. Your GRC program has to support your brand, and your brand is being judged by your customers. Our brand is being judged by all of you, and your brands are being judged by your customers. We got to make sure that GRC is ultimately going to help you hold to your reputation and your brand. The second thing I mentioned, let's think about instant ways to make change and effect change in GRC world. And let's try and see how we can get more intelligent through AI over in the future. So indeed, we are living in exciting times. As you can tell, I'm excited, right? This is an amazing time to be seeing how technology is being adopted across the board here. And I still remember it's been 5 years since we had our first GRC summit, and we did that in Vegas. And when French told me about this venue, he was trying to simulate Vegas here, by the way. He says, Gunjan, you'll get a similar experience, when you come to National Harbor here. But I guess they did not allow us to go to the casinos. One of the quiet secrets was when we did our first event in Vegas, a lot of the people called me and they said, it's a little hard for us to get permission to go to do a risk conference in Vegas. So that was the reason we moved it over to Washington, D.C. Back in, I think, 2014. But this event has now been going on for 5 years. And it's amazing to see many of you coming year after year to have the conversations. And I'm seeing so many new faces every year and new conversations, that spark the thinking, that bring us together to give us ideas about how we improve our respective GRC journeys and how we help improve MetricStream to where it is today and where it will be tomorrow. So that's very, very important to us. And I want us to continue this journey exactly in the same manner in the future. And I can tell you, in this world of GRC, change is the only constant. Change is the only constant. You can have new administrations, new regulations, new eras, but there'll always be things that we have to worry about as risk professionals to make sure that risk becomes a competitive advantage for our businesses. It gives us that agility that our competitors cannot have because we know how to make risk-adjusted decisions faster, better than anybody else in our respective markets. That's what distinguishes us from everybody else. So moving forward, we have to bring in fresh ideas and fresh perspectives into GRC, fresh innovation and fresh thinking. And a lot of the conversations today is going to light up that fresh thinking. And we're looking for fresh leadership and fresh, thought processes that really spark up GRC. We have to look at GRC itself in a fresh way starting today. And I want you to look at MetricStream in a fresh way as you conduct your M7 journeys and hopefully in the cloud. But that's all I have today. So thank you very much.